tonight rather, here at the second anniversary of Silicon Harlem. Great. So my name is Nina Uguomo, and I'm the founder and CEO of Student Dream, which is a nonprofit accelerator that's been training diverse college students on how to launch startups. So we've been a huge benefactor of Silicon Harlem.
Yes, and my name is Kachi Wabasi. I am the founder of a mobile application called Mask, which turns places like this into public chat rooms where you can anonymously converse with each other. Getmaskapp.com. But it's not about me tonight, it's about these great individuals here.
Right, and so these great individuals. So a bit about the first individual we're going to introduce. So one of the first programs that we had with Student Dream, my company, was a hackathon. And so this individual was very apt to just raise his hand and act as a volunteer, a mentor, an advocate for Student Dream. And he has just been extremely helpful ever since, helping with continued mentorship, promotion of all of our events, one of which is an upcoming hackathon in honor of Black History Month called Blackathon.
Hi-oh.
And it's taking place this weekend right around the corner at Team Co-working. We definitely want it to be a community event, so any Silicon Harlemites who want to spend 24 hours coming up with MVPs that solve any challenge facing the Black community, please come out and celebrate Black History Month. But without any further ado, please welcome co-founder of Silicon Harlem, Bruce Lincoln.
So I'm blinded by the light, but I can feel your presence. No. And this is very exciting. It was February 26th of 2013 when we had the first Silicon Harlem event, and 400 people showed up here at MIST, Miami Studios, and we really couldn't do what we're doing without having this fantastic space here. So let's have a round of applause for MIST. And we've seen it evolve. We're looking at this new iteration with Madiba Harlem and the Silicon Harlem Lounge and all the other great things happening. But without further ado, let me hand it off to Kashi, who has to introduce my partner.
Yes. Clayton. Where to start, huh? So I actually met Clayton through Bruce. Bruce and I were mentors at a Black Girls Code Hackathon. And he told me about Silicon Harlem, went to siliconharlem.net, saw what they were about. I was like, hey, I really like their mission. So I shot I shot Clayton an email. And Clayton was like, hey, man, it was summertime when I shot this email, so it was still nice out. He was like, hey, man, I'm at Lennox Sapphire every Friday. Come through if you want to have a conversation. And so that's what I did. And I went to probably see Clayton up at Lennox Sapphire maybe 3 or 4 times during the summer, and he was always super helpful, took time out of his busy dinner to kind of give me advice and on how to kind of improve Mask and kind of move forward with what I was trying to accomplish. I want to do something real quick though. How many entrepreneurs in the building? Right, okay, quite a bit. How many of you guys have actually had a conversation with Clayton? How many? Yeah, look at that. So I mean, I think that's a testament to the kind of guy that Clayton is, how willing he is to kind of help other entrepreneurs, and how passionate he is about bringing technology to Harlem. So without any further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Clayton Banks.
Thank you. That's my theme music right there. So Bruce and I have the great pleasure of introducing one of the real powerful forces for Uptown. Bruce?
We'd like to introduce our council member, the Honorable Inez Dickens, who's been a supporter of Silicon Harlem from my earliest inception.
Silicon Harlem! I want to hear it one more time. That's it. And I want to congratulate and I want to thank Clayton and Bruce for 2 years ago bringing to completion the beginning of Silicon Harlem to put Harlem and the business opportunities that are available here on the map. Give it up for these two. They got their, they are geniuses. Yeah, laugh if you want to, but they're geniuses. And because of their thinking, their forward thinking, we now have, 6 co-working locations here in the Harlem area that will give small startup businesses and small businesses an opportunity to have a safe place that they can operate and work from, grow, and become billionaire businesses. Yeah. Not millionaire, billionaire businesses. And it's going to come out of where? One more time. So listen up. Thank you all for being here. And remember that these two gentle giants, it's because of their thinking that we're all here today for Silicon Harlem. Thank you. And I want to say one more thing. You know, I was blessed to be here from the very beginning when there was just a few that used to come in the room. And now it's jam-packed. So give it up for yourselves as well for knowing what you want to do.
Inez Dickens, everyone. Great leader. So we have a whole lot to do. We've got some great things happening tonight. We have ChallengePost here. We have Shark Tank here. Got a lot of cool things, but we also have you here. And we want to, you know, Silicon Harlem is not just Bruce and I, it's all of us. And that's important to us, is that everyone is involved and participates. By the way, we have a membership. It's free right now. It may not be free in the future, but it's free right now. So you might want to go on siliconharlem.net. You may be on our mailing list, but you may not be a member. So make sure you become a member. I'm going to call a couple of names out and a few people to come up and say a couple of words. I'm going to start with Christopher Levendos. I want to just mention him. If you want to say a few words, Chris, feel free. But Chris has also been with us from the beginning. He is an executive at Verizon and has made it a mission to make sure that Harlem is not left out of the picture for high-speed broadband. And he has been wiring buildings like crazy all throughout Uptown. We're happy to say we've been a part of what he's doing. So Chris, if you want to say a couple of quick words.
Thank you, sir. A number of you have heard this story before, so I apologize for the repeat, but it means a lot to me. I started my telecommunication career 26 years ago here in Harlem as a technician for the New York Telephone Company. So I've walked these streets, I've crawled in all the manholes, I've been in every apartment building and business and home in Harlem over the last so many years, and I proudly stand here now as Verizon's Chief Operating Officer for New York City. So it's my job to provide you with service from Verizon, and it's my job to rewire all of New York City with a particular focus and affinity for Harlem for me as quickly as possible. So that's my mission, and I work with these two great partners every day, and we're working to endeavor to continue to invest here in Harlem and throughout New York City to make this the most important city on the planet, the most wired city on the planet. So, and that keeps moving forward every passing day, so thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And through Chris and his company, they were, some of you may have attended the tech conference we had in October. Verizon was one of our sponsors, so we were really happy about that relationship. Is Carlton Brown in the room? If not, Carlton is the owner of this building, and we wanted to make sure that we acknowledge, I'm sorry? Oh, okay. Well, is that Nina over there? You know, the light's in my hand. Is that Nina? Nina, oh, that's Nina Saxon from Scott Stringer's office, the comptroller of New York City. So she's here. I'd like to bring up Emmeline Stewart, who's been with us from the beginning as well, who's got a great production company. Emmeline, come on up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Silicon Harlem is doing amazing things. I remember when the vision started, and Bruce, you're amazing. So I just want to thank you for always supporting me and what I'm trying to do in Harlem. I'm Emmeline Stewart. I'm the CEO of Stewart Films, a film and TV company. We have a film festival here in Harlem. Our first one was actually right here at MIST 2 years ago. And last year we were at the Poets' Den in East Harlem. And so we're trying to put filmmakers on the map and give them an opportunity to live their dreams, and our actors. So we created a discount code. So if any of you know filmmakers who are interested in submitting to film festivals, the film festival is October Film Fest. And the discount code is Silicon Harlem 2015. I'm sure we'll put that on the website. So thank you for coming. We appreciate your support.
Thank you, Emmeline. And another guy who's been with us from the beginning that's part of Stewart Films is C.J. Gilbert. Give a big wave. That's C.J. Gilbert, he's a big part of Silicon Harlem. I see Carlton is into the room. Carlton, come on up here. You want to say a few words about your building here?
Hello. Excuse me, my voice is kind of fading on me. My name's Carlton Brown. I'm one of the owners of the project and developers of the project. First and foremost, I want to welcome you. Because when this was a vacant piece of land, what we imagined were you sitting here doing the things that you're doing. So our business is not just about building buildings, but building community. And community works in a whole lot of different ways. But first of all, it starts with people who have different interests, who are committed to being involved in the community and being here. So we've been with Silicon Harlem since day one. And when we developed this space, we said we wanted to do something that a typical nonprofit couldn't do. So we aren't a nonprofit. We're a for-profit venture. We wanted to be able to provide a forum where we could speak in voices that are unedited. So we can say and do what we want to do because we don't rely on foundations, et cetera. So one of the things we're doing is we're starting a film series here on human rights issues. Human rights, it's called #HumanRightsMatters. We think that, I believe, and my partners who have worked with me on this believe that there are a lot of things that we need to talk about. Technology is certainly one of them, but there are a whole lot of things that separate us as a people. Race, class, gender, ethnicity, religion, et cetera, that ultimately they can lead to human rights violations. So what we want to do is start to talk about these things in a way that can be healthy through film, through discussion groups, et cetera. So if you haven't signed up to be on our email list, right, you should. There's a magic number, I think, that comes past here, and you techno people can understand how that works, right? But it'll get you on the list. So we want you to do that. We're going to be doing music and film, et cetera, and more things like this. But the thing that makes us able to do this is that you support us as our patrons, that you eat, drink, and be merry here, and we can continue to provide basically free space for Silicon Harlem or any other program, right, that brings this sort of value that can't stand on its own but can stand with us if you stand with us. So tonight I want to thank you for standing with us.
Thank you, Carlton. And thanks for building a beautiful place. This is a green and smart building, by the way. So we're very proud of what he's done. But I just want to interpret what he said. Buy drinks and food. That's basically what he said. So I do want to just mention a couple other people. Let's see here. Steve Ensign, are you here? All right. Steve Ensign has been with us also as a longtime supporter and has sort of his hands around the real estate landscape.
Hi, my name's Steve, and I'm the CEO and founder of AnySizeDeals.com. We're a Harlem-based startup, and our platform really focuses on helping real estate investors find partners to grow their portfolio and platform. We launched in September of 2014 and have close to 1,000 members so far. I also run a group called the Harlem Real Estate Meetup, which is an offline platform to help connect investors as well. And I've been really involved with Silicon Harlem. They've been very helpful to me as well. Bruce and Clayton are very helpful guys. I appreciate what they're doing here tonight, and keep up with the good work.
Okay. You might have saw a table out front that was sort of doing interviews and things of this nature. We have the control group here, and I think Rachel Lair, if you want to come up and just briefly explain the project here so we all know what's going on. Silicon Harlem's been involved. If some of you might have read, we were involved in the initiative called Link NYC. Link NYC is an initiative to transform public telephones into public Wi-Fi hotspots, gigabit speed.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to hand this over to my colleague for first comments.
Sure. Hi. My name is John Sullivan Hamilton. I'm here representing Control Group, which is one of a few companies that you may have read about involved in this effort to replace all of the old phone booths in the city that are rotting with something new and amazing that can really provide something as outstanding as free Wi-Fi across the entire city of New York. Has anybody read about this program or heard anything about it? Can I get a show of hands? Okay, about 50-50. Yeah. So you might have read that we're creating these things. They're really large, and they will provide free Wi-Fi. You will be able to make phone calls from them, free video calls, use services like maps so you can get directions, potentially get transit updates. But really what we're here to talk about tonight is the fact that we're still in a very big research phase of the project involved with what these things should be. And the primary thing that we're trying to get from everybody, not just in Silicon Harlem, but all over New York City, is what can these things be for your community, and what are the #1 things that will make these things as powerful as they possibly could for you guys?
So right now we have a pretty big ask. We are going to community groups, partnering with groups like Silicon Harlem to figure out how to talk to people that both need access that this can provide, so how we can best communicate with people that don't currently have access and how this can work for them, but how this can also work for people who are starting startups, who are very connected to their community. And so we want to be connected to you all. We want to understand what people need at a very basic level and then take those insights and apply them to how we design these things. So I'm going to be outside. I want to talk to a lot of people. I have my card, and I would be incredibly open, and we would love to connect with you and the constituents and the communities you represent in order to get as much feedback as possible to continue what we started here tonight and to constantly iterate and share back our ideas and progress with the community. So come find me outside. I'd really appreciate and hope to talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Control Group. Is Trevor here? Did Trevor come? Trevor Wilkins? Okay. Dana Ostamel, are you here? Come up here for a sec. Dana has also been with us. She has a great crowd sourcing platform. If you're trying to raise money for anything, her platform is really strong.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. My name is Dana Ostamel, and I'm the founder and CEO of the crowdfunding website Deposit a Gift. And you can use us to raise money for anything that matters to you. We really have 2 target audiences. So one of those audiences is individuals, right? So people are trying to raise money for somebody who has a medical illness or a need, a memorial fund, even a group gift to do something nice for someone. And you can rally people really easily online. And the second target audience is organizations. So we've got a nice sweet spot with schools, under-resourced nonprofits, religious organizations, can easily have a site set up really.
Quick words and invite people to the stage.
Yes, I represent Harlem Business Alliance. We're one of the first co-working spaces that have partnered with Silicon Harlem, and we've been I don't want to say instrumental, but we've been supportive from the beginning. So we're very proud to be here today. We're at 275 Malcolm X Boulevard. Come see our space. For as little as $20 a day, your office can be our office.
Thank you, Daryl. HBA, over 30 years strong. They're a great organization, been doing great work in Harlem for a long, long time. Regina Smith, and Christina Saluza. So we're very proud of that relationship. We have anyone from Co-Found here? Co-Found Harlem? Just raise your hands. Those boys over there, pay attention too. They're good guys creating an accelerator. They have an event coming up. Yell it out for me, the date.
It's on the 10th of March.
10th of March. So see them over a beer and you'll figure it out. Is Arva Rice here? Arva? All right, well, she's with the New York Urban League and has been a great supporter of us. How many of you have heard of a man named Reverend Jesse Jackson? Right? He's been on the forefront the last year or so of working on diversity and technology. And a lot of his platform, it has been designed right out of New York by one of the leaders of the Wall Street Project, which is in the audience. Raise your hand, Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi Williams, everybody. She and Jesse are making things happen. You might have read in the paper. Apple did a debt offering. Multi-billion-dollar debt offering, $6 billion. First time in history. And they do a debt offering every year. Billions. They do $30 billion in debt offering a year. $6 billion. First time in history they had two minority firms involved in the transaction. First time in their company history, and that was directly due to the efforts of the Rainbow Push Coalition. So we should be very proud of that. All right, so I think that's going to start wrapping it up. Unless somebody has something burning to say, I'm going to get to. Somebody's looking at me really hard here. Has anybody got anything burning that they want to just say before we move on? Thank you. Oh, I do have to acknowledge. It is our anniversary, our 2-year anniversary. So forgive me if I forget something. But we have a great partner called the New York Tech Meetup. And the New York Tech Meetup has 43,000 members. And the chairman of the New York Tech Meetup is here with us tonight. Andrew Roger, if you could raise your hand, he's right back there. In addition, Andrew had a vision, and if you go downtown at 20th and 5th, you'll find a building where he has put what he calls Civic Hall. And Civic Hall is a beautiful space where you can go. It's a co-working space. It's a space where you can go and develop products that are going to help our lives, help the government, and it's already working. So thank you, Andrew, for that vision. Okay, just a couple of quick thank yous. I want to thank Jolie. Jolie is way back doing filming, and we're actually live streaming right now. So we're live streaming through our website and through our YouTube channel, and he gave me the address, which is bit.ly/sh2 and see me afterwards if you didn't get that. It's because you can replay this when you get home. So we have that streaming. We also want to thank folks like Harlem Trends and all the bloggers out there that have been helping us with our communication. All of you who've been retweeting us. We use a hashtag Harlem Tech. So if you want to hashtag anything tonight, it's Harlem Tech. Our Twitter handle is @SiliconHarlem. So if you're not following us, please do. We love to communicate with you. We have some great volunteers here, and I'll go through those names later because we want to get right into the program now. So, Bruce, happy anniversary. It's good to see you. Let me ask Brandon Kessler to come up here. He is the founder of ChallengePost.
Hi, test. It's a real pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here any day, but especially on the 2-year anniversary. Thank you so much for having me.
So we're going to do a quick talk with Brandon. If you haven't heard of ChallengePost, I'm going to let him explain it a little better than I can, but Bruce and I both have actually used ChallengePost, and it's a great platform if you have a contest or a challenge that you want to promote. And it's the #1 platform, in my opinion, for hackathons. So we're going to ask him a few questions about his background and sort of where he comes from and all of that, and also talk about ChallengePost and hackathons in general and what that means to Harlem. So we have some insight there. So Brandon, if you don't mind, if you can give just a very quick overview of ChallengePost itself, and then we'll get into your background a little bit.
Sure. ChallengePost, challengepost.com. We're a tech company, a startup. We actually launched in mid-2009. We're based in the meatpacking district. We have about 17 employees. And we are a platform for software developers to come and showcase what they're working on. So it could be a completed app or a partially working app, but they showcase what they're building, and then their peers and friends can come and see what they're working on and what they've built. And our business model is that organizations who want to reach those software developers to market their tools or market their initiatives or their causes launch what is called hackathons. You've heard the word hackathon a lot tonight. Raise your hand if you know what a hackathon is. Okay, well, for those of you that don't know what a hackathon is generally when a bunch of software developers or other entrepreneurs, could be designers and experts, get together in a room, usually for 24, 48, 72 hours, and they work to build something. And hack, not as in hack into something for evil purposes, which is one use of the word hacker, but hack as in someone that's very resourceful in hacking things together and making stuff. And so that's what a hackathon is. It's a marathon of building cool stuff with resourceful people. And so our model is that organizations run these hackathons either in person or online on the website to market their initiatives to those software developers.
Excellent. So software developers in the room, if you don't know about ChallengePost, I would encourage you to go to the website immediately. It's an amazing resource for that. It's our 2-year anniversary, so I'm allowed to do interruptions and things of that nature. We just have my good friend Umair Khan from the Public Advocate's Office arrive, so if you could wave, Umair, there he is. Yes, yes. We're doing great work together ourselves through the Commission of Public Information and Communications, so with the great leadership of our Public Advocate, it's been wonderful. So thank you for coming. Umair, did you want to say anything? Okay, good. No, I'm not. I don't mean that. Everyone, no, come up here, Umair. People should know this.
Well, as of 5 minutes ago, the State Public Service Commission still hasn't put up the agenda for tomorrow, so we still don't know what the status is regarding the vote for the merger between Comcast and Time Warner Cable. As some of you may know, the Public Advocate has been a vocal participant in this conversation. There are a number of concerns ranging from net neutrality and interconnectivity issues to the expansion of a robust broadband network in our city, especially past 96th Street in areas like Harlem, but also in the outer boroughs. So there are a number of issues that the Public Advocate has been articulating. There will be more news coming from us shortly, so stay tuned. And with that, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you. So, back to you, Brandon. Sure. How many of you have heard of the Dave Matthews Band?
Oh, gosh.
Okay. You want to know who's part of the success of Dave Matthews Band? It's this man right here. You got to talk about that, man.
Oh, gosh. Well, I didn't. Okay. It'll be very quick.
I love that band.
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned Andrew Richet up there because he used to run a room called Irving Plaza that he created and transformed from a Polish meeting room into one of the most successful music venues. I was in college. I love music. I started a record label my senior year in Columbia and ran that full-time for 12 years. But right before that, I saw some bands that I liked. One of them was the Dave Matthews Band, and I helped them in some ways. Before they were signed.
Yeah, just that little old band. But what I think it says is that he had an eye for something and a drive to make it happen, and that's the essence of entrepreneurialism and a lot of the folks that are in this audience. So that experience you had with Dave Matthews Band and being able to identify that talent, how did that does that link into the ChallengePost launch? I mean, is there some sort of thread we can?
I think the thread is that, so I'm an entrepreneur. My hope is that if there's any insight that I can provide today, it's maybe sort of the life of a startup, and particularly in the tech community, what's going on in tech, and what a desperate need there is for more resources, more places for tech startups to live, or have their offices, more need to get software developers and to make sure that there's early training of engineers and that sort of thing. But going back to the record label days, I'm an entrepreneur. It's the only thing that makes me happy professionally is to start a business and run it. Otherwise, I'm a miserable wreck, and you don't want to be anywhere near me. And I love music and technology, so I started a record label in my dorm and ran that for 12 years, where I was signing the bands and getting them in the studio and overseeing the making of the records and promoting and marketing, distributing it, hustling to get the word out. And we did pretty well. We were profitable almost every year, but at the end of the day, declining revenue in the music industry, and I lost the passion for it. And I saw all the creativity going from music to technology, which I'd always been passionate about, plus an opportunity to make a nice living. And so I wanted to have one product that I could sort of oversee versus a new record from an artist that I had very little control over, that I'd release every few months. So that's why I shifted. I think the important thing about the label, I started it when I was uptown at Columbia, and I'm an entrepreneur. Maybe.
So you talked about developers. Where do you see opportunity? Like what's going on your platform, or just in general? You're an expert at this. Is there? I think we all sort of recognize the fact that there's a need for more developers. Oh. Well, how do you translate that into an opportunity for example, Harlem?
Okay. Well, first of all, if you look at any list of startups that are in New York City and click on their jobs page, you will see a long list, for the most part, of openings, all of which have the word engineer in them. And actually, speaking of the New York Tech Meetup, there's a list that they provide that I try and tell everybody about, called Made in New York, where you can see a list of all the New York tech companies and a link to their hiring page. And we all link back to the central location from our websites. And it's amazing, hundreds and hundreds of companies, and tons of job openings, and a desperate need for engineers, and a tremendous shortage. So I, for one, if you ask me, is there a need for an additional tech hub like Silicon Harlem? There's no question. There's such a need for more engineers. The rents are so incredibly high in places like Flatiron and Meatpacking and even Dumbo and others that startups are moving to Queens and other parts of Brooklyn. Harlem's a great place, and there's no question in my mind that there could be a central hub where companies will form, and then we need to invest, of course, in teaching people more about STEM, which I know Silicon Harlem is, because the shortage is not going away. So there are only 18 million software developers in the world. About 1/3 of them are hobbyists, which leaves about 12 million of them. There are only 3.5 million developers in the United States, and our entire future is being written in software, and our future is being written by software. So the need is not going away, and every company is a tech company. You could be in real estate, but you need a website, and you probably need to plug in with real estate services. And whatever your company is, whether you're a doctor, you're a small business, whatever it is, you're pretty much a tech company, if not now, and will be soon.
So you guys certainly start formulating your questions. I got a couple more for you, Brandon, but certainly start formulating your questions. Brandon's an open book. Having to get to know him, he's also quite talented and has already started to give us a lot of great insight into how we can continue to extend the efforts here in Harlem. So I just want to acknowledge that. So what you talked about is sort of a skills gap as well, right? So there's these tons of jobs out there, but there's also a ton of people out of work. So there's some sort of skill gap there.
Absolutely. So there are not enough engineers being trained in universities. So there are a lot of these quote unquote dev or developer boot camps that are cropping up where you can take a 4 or 6 or 8 or 12-week course to learn. And that's not enough, but it's a good start. At least the market is sort of working where people are realizing that there needs to be some training. But getting people started early is what's key. And that's one of the things that's really exciting is actually the high school hackathon scene. So this is something some of you may not know about. So we mentioned what a hackathon is. There's actually a hackathon scene at colleges where students travel almost every weekend and go to different universities and make stuff for 3 days. And they're making incredible products, hardware, software, a mix of them. And it's actually moving from colleges into high school. So we're fortunate that we power almost all of them on ChallengePost. So if you know any kids or folks that want to make stuff, go to ChallengePost and it's free. And not only can you showcase all your software you're making, but you can find out about these cool challenges and hackathons where you can make money and have fun and meet people and get jobs and all that stuff. That's the end of my promo. But there's high school hackathons are so cool, and the students, there's very little gap in the quality of the technology that the high schoolers are making versus college. So you'd think that there would be a difference, but we're in some cases more impressed by the quality of what high school engineers are making. So the talent is there. Talent is there for some, but there's not enough people being on-ramped. And maybe that's a good segue into the city. We have a mayor who is telling everybody across all of his departments that if there's one thing you should be doing with regard to technology, it's helping on-ramp the underserved, low income, and just others that don't have access to it. So there is a need. So there's one thing I want to say. There's a tremendous need. There's a shortage. We need to fill that with folks in a tech hub like Silicon Harlem.
Well, that's a great point. Exactly. We, as together, we need to address this. We need to make sure we address this with our electives and everyone else. We all have a stake in the future here. So I appreciate you making that point. So hackathon. Let me just focus in on that for a moment. If someone wants to, by the way, we actually participated on ChallengePost. Silicon Harlem participated on ChallengePost with the House of Representatives, the U.S. Congress, which did a hackathon that focused on high schools, and we worked with high schools here in Harlem to get kids to submit ideas, mobile apps, and get them recognized so that they could go and be acknowledged by Congress. Charlie Rangel actually came here and acknowledged some of our folks. So
that's great.
Talk about hackathons in general, though. Like, if someone in this audience or a group wants to create a hackathon through ChallengePost, what's the sort of the ideal process?
Sure. So we have two different kinds of sort of hackathons. There's the in-person ones, much of what we're talking about, but then there are the online ones, like the House Challenge, where they last 3 months. You don't have to be in a room for 72 hours working on it, but you can spend months in your own time anywhere in the world working on something. For the online challenges, it's less about throwing those, more about participating in those. You just go to the site, and if you see something cool, you want to participate, get some exposure and money, and you get to keep all of the intellectual property. So you can win. We have $1 million prize we launched today with Oculus, which is these virtual reality glasses that Facebook owns, and if you can win that prize and keep intellectual property.
Let's get a team together. Who's down with me?
Let's do it.
Let's make that happen.
Please, just launched today. But you know, for the in-person hackathons, if you want to throw an event, you have to just organize people in a room. Maybe it could be done here. We're not involved in the sort of event planning of that, but we would be the website where you would show all the details and the judges, and we would promote it to our network for free. And it's free to power your hackathon on ChallengePost. And then we would be the place where everybody would submit all the software they're making, kind of like an app store, and you'd get to see everything that everybody made, and you'd get exposure for working on it. So even if you're not a developer, but you just have an idea or you're interested in some way, maybe you're a designer, you want to meet some people, hackathons are a great place to do that.
And I got to tell you, what he said is really important. ChallengePost, if you go to their website, there's hundreds of challenges going on, and most of them have money prizes. I'm not just about money grubbing, but I'm just saying, you know, it's a way to power your idea. So these challenges, you know, you can win $10,000, $50,000. I never heard of $1 million, but I'm down with that.
Do it.
And so let's participate. You can't win the money if you don't participate, right? Any questions from anyone in the audience? We have one here.
I have a question.
Oh, Bruce has a question. That trumps all.
There's been this trend now, Brandon, with these sort of civic hackathons or social good hackathons. Could you talk about that trend? Because that, not simply brings in, the technical folks, but also brings in do-gooders and social entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. So often hackathons have a theme. It could be use our tool, like the Facebook, glasses, and make something cool around that. Or Apple or Google saying, build something on Android or build something on iOS. But other themes could be a music-focused hackathon, where you have a bunch of partners working around music. We power them for music festivals all the time. And then one thing that we are most excited about is the civic hackathons. So we actually power a platform that the federal government has used for all of their platforms, all of their challenges, called challenge.gov. And there are lots of civic challenges that occurred on challenge.gov, and local ones too. So some example, we did the first 3 versions of this challenge called Big Apps, NYC Big Apps, which was a challenge to use New York City's data and help New Yorkers. We today we're a milestone with the MTA. We do a challenge called the MTA App Quest. You may see some ads in the subways. Use MTA data to make apps that would help riders navigate around. And then there's all kinds of other civic hackathons, everything from hackathons in Islamabad to South America, to all kinds of political themes, to apps to make the government work better, etc. So hackathons can not just be about marketing a product or a tool, but around solving a problem or a cause.
All right, we have a question. Yeah. Keep your questions very short, please.
My name is Ramon. I came from New Jersey to celebrate with Silicon Harlem. I've started 3 companies. And my question is, can you just elaborate more? What can those of us who are not familiar with Silicon Harlem do to help and participate in what you've talked about tonight, especially your opening comments? I'd love to participate. So maybe just explain to those of us who are not familiar with what's happening here, how we can contribute, how we can help, how we can be involved. Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming. I think we've seen you at other events. But first off, you could join as a member. You can follow us on the web and see the sorts of things that we're doing. I mean, we have four areas that we're very focused on. And as Chris Levendo says, one of those is making sure Harlem has the next generation internet. Because without that, and without it being affordable and low cost, you can't grow tech startups. Brandon talked about that as being one of the issues that isn't simply here in Harlem, it's throughout the city. We also are focused on the innovation economy. The innovation economy has to be inclusive. So it's not just techies, it's artists, but it's mom and pop stores, it's our seniors, everyone needing to get involved, because this has to be something that improves everyone's quality of life. And then similarly, as we look at the next generation leadership, we have to support our young people, and that's STEM, not beginning in high school, but actually beginning in elementary school in coding. So those are all the areas that we think holistically, need to be supported. So there's various ways in which you can get involved, and you can craft the way in which you get involved, because we think of this as an ecosystem. And we can talk more about it, afterwards.
We're going to have questions on both sides of the room. We're going to limit it to another few, because we've got more to do here. Go ahead. Josh, what you got?
Are we doing the question here or here?
Yeah.
All right. Just as important as STEM is what our media is talking about. Right now, you can go on BT, you can go on Essence, Vibe, you can name any black media. None of them have tech sections. None of them talk tech. And that becomes a serious problem for me as an entrepreneur, because now I have to educate and advertise. So if we don't have black media talking about tech at all, then it makes it more difficult to get STEM involved, because you're going to get them involved in a later age. So it's not necessarily a question, it's a comment saying like, look, we need to throw some power behind, get black media talking about tech.
We'll pass the mic. Thank you for your comment. Let's get some questions for ChallengePost. I know, well, hang on a second, Brandon. I know how to handle my crowd, brother. All right? You don't know what you're getting into. So I just want to be clear. We're going to have time to rap about all that kind of stuff. But the man is here, and I definitely want him to share his knowledge and experience. And certainly you can comment on.
No, I have a related comment, which is I'm not going to let you all off the hook. I think there's one thing that that you could do. I mentioned this on the phone that I think would be really big, which is there's not yet a website, one simple website that lists all the companies that are based here and some of the key resources for them. So where are the co-working spaces? Who are the companies that are based here? Who are the real estate agents that are tech friendly in terms of offering kind of open spaces? Who are the investors and who do you call just in one spot? Because when I've seen that in some other cities as part of our work, it's been a nice thing where you see something tangible and then everybody else wants to be part of it. So I'd encourage that one thing.
Developers in Silicon Harlem to build that map.
Whoa! Did everybody hear that? It's on record now, Mr. Rose.
I'm not worried about the record. I'm worried about getting it done.
All right. We got a challenge. Beautiful. Excellent. Problem solved. All right. We have a question on this side of the room.
Hi, my name is Ramona Priello, and I'm the founder of Meetup, and I've been doing technology in Harlem since 1998 when it was called New Media. But my question is about ChallengePost. I have gone to so many hackathons in that time period, and brilliant ideas, MVPs come out of those sessions, but a lot of them die on the vine. So does your website publish any analytics about these projects that come and go? Where can we go on the web to find that information?
Yeah, great question. So a couple parts of that. One is, we're actually about to release a report on all the technologies that software developers do, and you can search through all of the projects. And on ChallengePost, when people post them, you can continue updating them, etc. So I think as much as anybody, we're encouraging people to continue working on their software. But there's a second part of that, which is not everybody makes stuff because they expect it to just be a hit. It'd be like a songwriter, coming back to the music industry saying, I'm not going to write a song unless it's like a top 5 hit on the Billboard charts. Creators, artists, people that are making stuff, they want to do it because they have no choice. They want to meet other people. They want to be inspired to do something. They learn something from the process, regardless of whether that project they made in 72 hours goes on to then be their full-time job. So there are 2 parts to that. One is you can see people working on their stuff, and we encourage people to do that, and you can get insight into it on challengepost.com. But the second is not every project is meant to be a forever project.
Thank you.
Sure. I have a question over here.
You mentioned the need for engineers and that there was a skills gap. What particular areas of engineering are you referring to?
Sure, software engineering. So I would say, for folks that have kids like I do, I have three of them. I would have them just learning as early as possible, if they like it, basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript, how to make a basic website. Really, it's just how to make a website. What are those? That's just so that language is part of their lexicon. Like French, okay, I like French, but I would have much rather learned Ruby on Rails or PHP or something else, JavaScript. French too, that's cool, I like that. But it should be as important of a language. And if we're not going to get that, and there are cool programs like Gentech and others that are doing that, and I know Silicon Harlem's helping with that sort of STEM curriculum too, but just learning to build basic websites early and then moving on from there.
So my question, again, I'm Nina Uguomo, founder of Student Dream, and we actually have a hackathon going on this weekend, and it's on ChallengePost, blackathon.challengepost. So my question for you is just kind of going off of what she said around creating a product and then being able to commercialize it. So what advice would you give to any of us in here who have product ideas and don't just want to create a product but want to create a real company that solves a real problem for real customers who pay you real money to pay real rent?
I'll try and answer it in 2 sentences. Well, I had a couple questions there. One was like, if you have the idea. The other is if you don't have the idea. Is there one in particular you want to focus on? Like you have the good idea? You have the good idea. You know what you're doing and you want to get it out there? Yeah. Okay, well, two things. One, again, Andrew Roche, who stood up earlier, New York Tech Meetup over there. You apply to New York Tech Meetup and you don't show PowerPoints there. You show the actual software in front of 1,000 people every month who cheer you on and then come up and talk to you afterwards. So not just the New York Tech Meetup, but going to meetup.com and searching for meetups that happen in New York that are technology by getting out there, doing this kind of thing. But that's kind of getting the word out. I think these days with a lot of technology, if people love it, they'll tell their friends. So what I would encourage entrepreneurs that are doing that have their first version of their product is spending most of their time talking to users. You want 50 or 100 people loving your product and using it every single day and telling all of their friends before you want some article in the media. Because let's just say it goes in some blog writes about it, 1,000 people download it, they don't use it again. That was not a good experience.
So we'll take a couple more and then we'll move on.
Going back to the question.
What's your name?
I'm sorry. My name is Fernando Prudon, founder of the People's Astrologer. One question that I wanted to ask concerning about the gap of the lack of engineers for software. Is there collaboration being done with the elected officials, the banks, and the businesses to create funding programs to help the hackathon, especially the high school hackathon, develop that kind of gap, and including also the college student base?
You might be able to speak more about, oh, sorry.
Well, we have a program called the Apps Youth Leadership Academy that was founded actually through funding from the Harlem Community Development Corporation. And what that was every elected official basically made a commitment to provide the funding for that. And we launched that in June, July, and August of last year. And 20 young people, 12 young ladies, 8 young men, all learned in 7 weeks under Clayton's instruction how to build tech companies. So not only did they learn how to code, they developed wireframes, and they also developed pitches. And that's on the web at Apps Youth Leadership Academy on YouTube. And so what we have to do is get the financing to basically expand these programs. What it does is it backs up against the fact that the students learn how to code. We also teach them how to now become entrepreneurs. But what it really helps them is their affective skill sets to where they become better college applicants. So our students have now been accepted early action to Smith, early action to St. Francis College, early action to Manhattanville, where recruiters are coming and meeting these young people and accepting them on site. So it's another way to basically improve our young people's ability to get into college so that not only can they connect to what's happening in Silicon Alley, but they also now take these skills to these universities. And most of these universities now have programs where they are looking for students who are entrepreneurial, whether you're in the humanities or in the sciences, to build companies. So one of the things that's happening is that we have these programs, but what we have to start to do is figure out how to aggregate the resources so we can really grow these things. So that's sort of what Brandon had spoken to as a need, and Andrew is sort of speaking to. Because it is a focus of the city to now take these programs that are successful and get it into the Bronx, get it into Queens, get it into Brooklyn and Harlem. So, it's a great question, but we need everybody to now figure out how to support that. And it can even be crowd-raised funding that can support it as well.
What are that was one of the first questions. What can everybody here do? I mean, can they write you a check? They can sign up, right? What else can they do? Like, is there stuff at siliconharlem.net that tells you what you can do?
Definitely write a check. That's pretty straightforward. No, but we've always worked collaboratively. So it's really important to Bruce and I that this is a community-driven effort. Bruce and I have been thinking about Silicon Harlem a lot longer than we actually talk about. We had this idea back in the mid-2000s because we saw a need. But the mistake we sort of made was we tried to do all the heavy lifting ourselves. And working with DC and working with universities, we were trying to really push through our ideas around how to bring technology to Harlem. what we realized is that it wasn't going to sustain itself unless the community bought in. The community has to be a part of it. So this is a collaborative effort. We need everyone involved. We need everyone to be involved both with your talent and with your treasure, as they say in church. So yeah, we could use the financial help by, for sure. We have our annual conference in October, so make sure you guys mark that date down, October 16th. And that's one way that people can support us financially. But more importantly, it's your skills and your talent that's going to really make a difference in Uptown. So I'm going to sort of start to wrap it up here. Is there any last burning question that needs to be asked? Otherwise, I'm going to have Brandon say his final words, unless that was it. Okay. Last question.
Eric Fondren, co-founder of Free ATM. You originally spoke, how's it going? You originally spoke about intellectual property and the owner being the person who created it. If I'm a company and I want to leverage the community of Silicon Harlem or ChallengePost to build and increase the viability of my product, and I start an event on ChallengePost, where's the intellectual property rights in terms of that?
Yeah, so ChallengePost is not a place where instead of hiring a developer, you go there and say, we're going to put up money to do this development work. There are plenty of places that do that. We're not so much about that. It might be a good place for you to find developers that you can just message offline. But our model is more about trying to get people together to work on, to either market the technology products to these developers or market these causes or these initiatives to developers. So maybe an Elance or an Odesk or that sort of thing might be a better place to find developers on there. To post work for developers, but you can network with developers on ChallengePost.
So before we give you a big hand, Andrew, I do need you to come up here 1 second. Andrew was the guy who blurted out that he's behind this challenge. Can you just repeat that, please?
Okay, so I will put up a prize, let's say $5,000, for developers to build a map for all the technological resources that are in Harlem and touched by Silicon Harlem, and that will allow Silicon Harlem to expand and show how much power there is in this part of the city. However, that is a challenge, because I'll put up another $5,000 if $5,000 comes from the community. So we can make it $15,000, not only to the developers that do it, but to allow Silicon Harlem to maintain that map for many years to come.
Let's give him a big hand. I love that, man. That's great. That's wonderful. Thank you. Any final words that you have?
Thank you. Congratulations.
Let's give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. We're not done yet. Just a couple of quick things. My play cousin, his name is Johnny Banks, is in the audience somewhere, who has a brand new studio in New Jersey. So any of you guys who are into production, you want to make sure. Johnny, where are you at? Raise your hand wherever you are. I don't know where he is, but he's somewhere around here. And Johnny is inviting people to come over and tour the spot. So we've got a lot of people in the audience, and I know I'm going to miss people, but thank you all for coming. So how many people here have heard of Shark Tank? Well, unfortunately, they didn't show up tonight. No, I'm kidding. They're actually here. So I want to introduce you to a new friend of mine that we met down in D.C., and we hit it off, sort of having similar views of where the world is going with technology and fairness and all of that. And he made his way from D.C. to come up here to spend time with us. But more importantly, he's the reason why we were able to get Shark Tank here. So Brandon, if you could just stand up real quick and wave to the audience. Brandon Andrews here. Actually, Brandon, come here and just mention your organization.
Sure. So thank you so much again for having us today. We had an awesome conversation. I'm looking forward to coming back and doing some great work with you guys. So I had the opportunity to meet Clayton last year on Capitol Hill. Congressman Charlie Rangel's office hosted a diversity in tech panel discussion and reception. We had a great conversation. What I do in Washington, D.C. is I build strategic partnerships, so between the tech community, between communities of color, between the tech community and between government.
and look for ways to build solutions to some of the problems that are evident to all of us, very evident during that conversation. And so if you're looking to find solutions, certainly happy to work with anybody in this room. And with that, I'll turn it over to Scott, turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brandon. He's doing great work, phenomenal work. So the man I'm about to bring up is what I call an Uber casting person. This guy is serious, right? He has been a casting producer, if you will, for shows like, let's see if I can name a few of these. Let's see, Cafe Confidential, The Apprentice, Dog Eat Dog, Blind Date. I think I was on that one. Let's see, he's got Japanese Game Show, Crash Course, Generations, Design Star, Your Own Show, Babysit Your Own Kids. Fortune Hunters, Garage Sale Junkies, Duets, The Glass House, Payload, Bad Sex, Christmas, somebody said, oh, Christmas Light Fight, Who Done It, Dear Neighbors, App Wars, Uber, right? This guy is amazing. And from season 1, he's been casting for Shark Tank. Scott, come on up here. So it's really a great pleasure to have you here. And certainly there's a lot of folks, as you may have picked up on, that have Shark Tank-like ideas. So why don't you just talk about it? We're not going to drill you as, Bruce and I won't drill you as much, but talk about Shark Tank, and if you guys have some questions for him, feel free.
Yeah, so thanks for that reading of my resume there, for those fun shows I did. My parents are so proud. But yeah, as far as what I'm here for, Shark Tank I've been doing since season 1. It's the little show that could. It was on Friday nights, and people are like, oh, I've heard of that, and it just kind of slowly become this fun show that my parents are actually proud of. But, you know, Shark Tank, most people apply either online or in an open call. And we've been doing that for now we're going into our 7th year, and we're finding we're getting the same types of people applying. A lot of people applying every season, and they still get the same answer. No, no, thank you. So what we're starting to do now, and this is how we connected with Brandon, is trying to find different avenues to find people to apply for the show. To let people know we do want to hear your idea, your product, your business. As you had asked, you know, if I have a great idea, now what do I do? How do I make money with it? And so hopefully Shark Tank is one unique way that we've created to get capital, to get your product out there. So basically I'm here to just kind of offer up another avenue for people to try out for the show. We've actually created and I will say this, and I want to make sure it's very clear. I do not have an MBA. I have never started my own business. I am a Shark Tank taught person about venture capitalism and customer acquisition and valuation. So somebody set up a Bitly account for us, and I'm like, what is this bit.ly? I had no idea what that was. But we do have a Bitly account that's Harlem Shark Tank. If you go to that, that is one way right now for anyone that's here today, you guys can apply to Shark Tank, and it basically comes right to me. I don't mean to say I'm great, but we did have 40,000 people apply last year. I don't see all those people. I have a team of people that filter through that, but if you apply through that website, it will come directly to me, and then I can say no that way as opposed to through the website.
Well, let me say, because I want to be clear, this is a big deal. They don't do this with a lot of people, so we've worked out an arrangement, largely due to Brandon's vision and others on the team, to allow you to get direct access. All right, that's not done every day. So we've created a website. You go through that website versus the normal channels, and you get I think a fair look and a fair shot. So go to our website. You'll see that website posted, but what is the address? Bit.ly, bit.ly/Harlem Shark Tank. That's the website. That's a that's a cool thing.
So basically, I am here to answer any questions as far as Shark Tank is concerned. Once again, I preface with this. Do not ask me about how to grow your business, because I'm just going to tell you about Shark Tank. But I can answer any questions about how to get on, what we look for, all that kind of stuff.
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
We've got one here.
I'm ready.
All right, hello. So
Hello.
again, my name is Nina Uguomo, founder of Student Dream. We're a nonprofit accelerator that trains diverse college students on how to launch startups. And so I love Shark Tank. I tell our students to watch Shark Tank to really understand how to speak through it. But yeah, I used to work at Nielsen, so we know about ratings and how that matters. So how do you really take into account who you select, both from a will this get us ratings view and is this an investable company's view?
Most people don't believe me, but as far as what I'm concerned and what we do on the ground floor with the show, we don't care about ratings. Because we look at it like, if we're finding legitimate businesses, stories that we want to tell, people who have a passion for whatever they've created, and then you put them in front of people who can make that dream a reality, the ratings will come. If we try to fabricate it, if we try to think, ooh, we're going to put this business on because we think people will love that, there's just no way. It's impossible almost. There are many times, and I will definitely not say which ones, there are many times we've had a business come through and I'm like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. That is terrible. $40 million based on Shark Tank. So, I mean, I am not a shark. So we are not in the business of trying to figure out what's going to be good ratings. We're in the business of trying to find a diverse group of businesses, whether it's a invention a mom created because she couldn't find it out there. And she's like, I don't know how to do this with my kids. So I created it, to a tech company, to somebody who's got a little deli in the Bronx and wants to go worldwide. We're looking for a variety of businesses. So we don't really think about ratings, or at least not on my element. I'm sure somebody higher up does, but we don't really think that when we're making the show. We try to just make it as authentic as possible.
Hello, check. Hey, was your name Scott?
It is.
Scott, I may be totally wrong, but when I was running my first company, which went on to be successful, but I went to the Chelsea Piers, and I went to an open call, and I was the last pitch. I didn't even know I was going to pitch, and I'm almost certain that I walked into the room, and you were there, and I said, hello, Scott, how you doing? And I pitched, and actually, you admitted us to the next round, so I think that's awesome. But am I right about that? Do you normally do the open calls at the Chelsea Piers?
Well,
for the business expo?
Well, yes, we did an open call.
So thank you
I
for
don't
that.
think it was at Chelsea Pier though. Was it a different pier?
It was.
I've done apprentice at Chelsea Piers, but I know we were at Small Business Expo
Small
last
Business Expo.
June.
I'm almost
but I don't
certain
think
it was you.
Chelsea Pier. It
No?
probably was me.
Cool.
Very important.
Cool. Well, it's good to see you.
What's your business? What is it?
So it was an on-demand. That first one was an on-demand startup. So we essentially delivered dry cleaning, housekeeping, and dog walking straight to your door.
And yes, like a concierge business or like a
That's right.
personal. Yes,
that's right. So yep, just
That's
thought I'd give you a
terrible.
shout about that.
So So I called you and I said make a video, or I had one of my people do it.
Yeah,
Come
your
on, I don't
casting
do that
directors gave me a shout, an email, and then it felt a little gimmicky at that point, so we opted out. But
Wait, you opted out?
Yeah.
Well, what do you want me to do? I'm doing what I can. I gave you a shot.
Yeah. I'm just saying thanks, and I thought it was funny that you came back around. So I thought that
Well,
was
why
cool.
is that funny? Jeez. Can't do anything if you opt out. Oh, he's already moved on. So are you going to try out again and then opt out when I call you?
Man, so last time I skipped the opportunity to do this, I'm Anari Singh Bay. I'm the founder of Gameraholic.com.
Hello.
Gameraholic is a cryptocurrency arcade, if you're familiar with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I'm currently the only person of color on the planet to create his own cryptocurrency that's traded on the largest cryptocurrency exchange.
All right.
Right, now, here's the thing though. On Shark Tank, it's always valuation that screws up the deal. Someone comes in and wants $200,000 for 2% of their company,
Mhm.
right? Cryptocurrency doesn't really apply within this valuation space,
All right.
right? Because it's an off market. It's pretty much a NASDAQ that's on its own. So I have yet to see cryptocurrency pitched on Shark Tank. I mean, is this?
It is not because of that. Literally, my job is to find businesses that can come on that the sharks would be investing in.
Yeah.
So we don't determine, I want to make sure that's very clear, we don't tell the entrepreneurs before they come on the show, hey, make sure you ask for this percentage. It is completely up to them. So if they're messed up on their valuation, they're messed up on their valuation. So if you were to try out but you do need to come on and ask for, I need this much amount of money for this much percentage. That's, that's kind of how the show works.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Just
what's your question?
Ridiculous valuations tend to kill the deals.
Yes, they do. And we try to avoid that. That's part of the casting process. So if someone comes on and goes, look, I have a drawing of a business. I would like 1 million for 2%. We go, thank you. And like, that's a non-starter. We look for companies, and people always ask me, well, I just have a prototype. Can I go on the show? It seems like you have to have sales. No, you just have to be realistic. If you have a drawing and you want to get a prototype, how much money do you need to go from drawing to prototype? There you go. If you have a prototype and you want to get to distribution, how much money do you need to get from that to a distribution? You're currently in 100 stores in the New England area. You want to go nationwide. All right, how much money do you need to get to that? That's what we want. What we don't want is someone who has a drawing and they already want to go to Costco. It's like, that's not going to happen. You gotta, it's not take this the right way. Shark Tank's not a charity. It's not like people come on and they're like, oh, let me just give you $1 million to help you out and hopefully it works out. This is literally ABC does not give the sharks money to invest. People still ask me that. How much money does ABC give them to invest? Zero. This is their personal money. So that's what I think makes the show unique, is this is a legitimate business meeting that we are filming. And most of you probably know this. The pitch actually lasts about an hour and a half. But we edited it down to 8 minutes of, what mattered and what didn't matter. But it's long. People are sweating. Sometimes we show it, sometimes we don't. But they're like, ugh, because there's lights just like this. So it's actually a legitimate business meeting that we show. So it's their real money. And so when people have ridiculous valuations, that's because they have ridiculous valuations. It's not because we tell them. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Hi. Oh, actually, I was before. Hi. I have a quick question. One of the things that you hear sometimes is this isn't like a business. This is a hobby. What are some of the defining characteristics for a serious contestant in terms of how long you've been in business, what your sales can be, and also what's the average cost per pitch? Because when you see the samples and all the things that people bring, that's an expense of.
Oh, you mean how much does it cost the person to go on the show, and how much are they spending? All right, that's a good question. All right, you asked about 8 questions. Let me try to answer them all for you. What was your first question? Oh, wait, okay, yeah.
Hobby versus business.
Yeah, so when they say it's a hobby, once again, they do not have writers. We are not telling these sharks what to say, and usually it's Kevin O'Leary, that the middle guy. He'll kind of say this, this is a hobby. You're not really saying. He looks at it. He's the true one investor on the show. Everyone else has their own companies that they do. All Kevin O'Leary does is invest in businesses. So he's always like, I'm a disciplined investor, and this is what I look at. So he always looks at it like, how much time are you spending? Do you have a full-time job, and this is just what you do on the side, as opposed to, I've quit that job, this is what I do. And for those of you who are entrepreneurs, it's almost impossible to be a successful entrepreneur if you're also doing a 9-to-5 job. It's so hard. So it's almost like you have to take that risk and just go, you know what? Quitting that. This is what I'm doing. And 40 hours never works. It's like 70 hours, 80 hours, 90 hours. So that's what he means when he says this is just a hobby. Or if it's like you've been doing it 5 years and you're still not profitable, they're like, not really a hobby. Okay, how much does it cost you to apply? Well, it costs you nothing. We look at it like we try to tell you, if you were to go to a trade show and you knew that you would be able to pitch your business in front of 5 venture capitalists and also 9 million people will watch your business, you would think, you know what, if I spend $200 to ship my stuff out here, that's a good return on investment. We don't tell you what you have to ship out there. You can come up with nothing and just have an empty table and go, hey, here's my business. But we tell you that you want to present it the best you can for the shark. So I would say whatever the shipping is for your samples and stuff like that. And funny enough, that's just what you see on the show. In my office, in my department, if you apply for the show and you get to the level where we say, hey, make a tape and send us a sample, you need to send it to us. We need, if you've got a bread company, we need to taste it, to find out, is it great or is it terrible, We're not just going to put someone random on the show. The other thing, and this is way off topic, many people a lot of times will come up to you and say, I have a great idea, but I can't tell you. I'm afraid you're going to steal it. I'm like, you're trying out for a TV show. You know it will air on TV. Sorry. I digress.
This is a really unique and rare opportunity because for the last 5 days, I've had a burning question.
I'm ready.
All right. Last Friday night, Mr. Wonderful,
I don't watch the show.
And Cuban walked off the set. Was that legit?
It was 100% legit. And that's...
Wow.
I can't go into too much behind the scenes. So we shoot more than airs for various reasons. Sometimes it's just a boring pitch or whatever. I'm not going to go on record and say that's the first time or second time or fifth time that's happened. But once again, they are themselves. They are who they are. Mark Cuban is exactly like that. Kevin O'Leary is exactly like that. Barbara from New York is exactly like that. And they get upset with each other, and they get frustrated with each other, and sometimes they think they're full of it. And so that was 100% legit. Once again, I think the show is successful because they're not playing to the camera. They are who they are. Most of you who are entrepreneurs, and as you get more and more successful, we become more and more egotistical. And so you are who you are because that's how they became successful. They don't like to follow other people's rules. That's why you all are entrepreneurs. You don't want to work for somebody else. You want to work for yourself. So they all work for themselves, and they don't like it when other people mess up what they're doing. So that was 100% legit. And fun, you know. It's good TV. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Scott. My name is Alexis Cromwell. I've always been interested in entrepreneurship. I've always thought that it's the best way to go. Recently, there's been a trend, something called multi-level marketing. Robert Kiyosaki described it as one of the easiest ways for the average man, the average woman to get into entrepreneurship, to get into buying their own business. My question is, would it be possible for someone to come on board the Shark Tank venue and put forth a proposal of their specified company and say, listen, the company already exists. It's a great company. I would just like to get capital for building my distribution team. Is that something that you guys might be able to
100%. Once again, and I don't mean to say this so much, but we want anyone that's going to come on to pitch something that the Sharks would want to invest in. Whatever that is. You got a movie idea? We've had that on before. You want a band? We had that on before. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. And the only thing, we try to get away from too many complicated asks. And once again, we know in the business world you can come on and say, I'm asking for $1 million, of whether that's convertible debt on a 10% note, and America gets confused. I get confused. But so it needs to be a simple, I need this much money for this much equity. But at the same time, we are open to anything that we think the Sharks would want to invest in.
All right, so any other? We in the middle. Josh, we have one back. We have a couple here.
bit.ly/Harlem Shark Tank, because we're in Harlem.
Because I know Mark and Kevin hated the MLM business. That's what we've all seen publicly.
What is MLM? Well, once again, my job is to present it. If they don't like it, sometimes people back out even if I like them. It's a callback.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Dana. I'm
Hi.
the founder and CEO of Deposit a Gift. We are a
Oh, yeah.
crowdfunding platform. So I have two questions for you. One, what?
Harlem-based.
Harlem-based, that's right. So one of my questions is, one of our competitors has already been on your show and been funded.
Which one?
I don't want to name a competitor.
I was just curious if I liked him or not.
Honey Fund, and then they're
Oh, yeah.
launching Plum Fund. So because our roots were in registry, and it's a similar story.
Yep.
So do you bring on companies that have already been funded that are in a similar milieu?
I don't understand your question.
If they were funded on Shark Tank,
Yep.
would you bring on a company like ours that's competitive and similar?
100%. Just to joke around, I'm way behind on watching Shark Tank because I live it, so I'm like 10 episodes behind. But I just watched the one that was Zips Wine that O'Leary invested in. It's like a portable, wine cup, and some of you may know, 2 or 3 years ago we had Copa di Vino, same thing. And the guy literally, this Zips Wine came on to say, I'm actually better than this one that you guys didn't like. We 100%. I mean, take this the right way. There's only so many businesses out there. There's only so many baby clothing lines or hats or whatever. So once again, my job is to give them companies that they might want to invest in to make money. So we would have no problem.
I wasn't sure if they had already invested in one like that met their portfolio.
Well, that shark might not be interested,
Right,
but
then
there are other sharks.
So my other question is, besides the money, right? Because when you're getting investors, it is about the money, but often it's really about the advisorship.
Yep.
So I'm curious what else comes with the package.
Well, it depends
and
on-
do they really make good on that?
Well, I hope so. We wouldn't have a show. Yeah, it's not fake. So what comes with the money is what you make out of it and what the shark wants. If the shark's getting 5% of your company, you probably get 5% of their time. If they're owning 51% of the company, you get 51% of their time. It's really part of the negotiation and what they think. I will tell you this, though. They are not a bank. Very rarely are they just going, here's a check, and I hope to get some return. They are invested. It's their money. They want a return on their money. But we do have a lot of people who try out saying, I want to ask for $0 because I just want your contacts. You should, to me, and what we see that as, you are not valuing what you've already put into your company. You should have a value, whether it's 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, but you need to, by you coming in saying, I want zero money for 20%, just because I just want your Rolodex, that's like showing that you have not valued your company at all. So we try to avoid that. But other than that, how much involved the sharks are and what kind of contacts you have through them is completely between you and the sharks.
Hello, my name is Chike. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Real Life Incorporated. We actually teach young people about entrepreneurship.
Great.
And my question is this. So just to confirm, you said you guys frown upon convertible notes, correct?
No, we frown upon you saying that on TV.
Okay.
What I mean is there's... If you were to come to us and say, here's what I want, we're say, look, let's come up with a number that we're all comfortable with, that when you go on the show, you say, oh, 100,000 for 10%, you talk about that, and then in the process of the negotiation with the shark, you can say, I'm actually interested in making it a convertible note, and then you'll see, because we'll dumb it down for people, there'll be a little timer that says, a convertible note is a da-da-da-da. Because most people are like, what does that mean? I'm confused. We just don't want you to come on to say that in the beginning, because then America's confused from day one. It's like, you want that every Shark Tank, you walk down the hallway and you say, hi, I'm da-da-da-da, and it ends with some pun like, who's ready to dive in? And you say something like, I'm looking for 50,000 for 10%. They always want that. Okay. Then the negotiation can go back and forth. And there's been many times on the show, there have been convertible notes that have been part of the deal.
Okay. No, the reason why I asked that is for pre-money or pre-funded, startups, it becomes a little bit more difficult to place a value in them. So how do you work that out?
Yeah, I mean, we advise as much as we can, but we make it very clear we are not business advisors. We are TV show producers. And we try to say, look, this is our 7th season now that we're doing. There have been other companies that have come on pre-revenue, especially in the tech space, what they can get as far as their valuation of their company in, let's say, San Jose or Silicon Valley or Austin or anything like that is going to be different than what they get on the show. But we leave that completely up to you on to how you want to figure out what that is. And then we say to you, though, you better be able to convince the sharks why they should still give you the money based on being pre-revenue. And as you know, some sharks are a little more tech savvy than other sharks, and I'm not going to name names. But some will understand that more than others. And those are probably the ones you should focus on if you were to get that far in the process. Did that answer the question?
Great questions, great questions. Again, we have a great opportunity here with Shark Tank. So for all of you who have great ideas, let's make sure we take advantage of it. We're going to continue to deepen our relationship. This man actually came from California for this event, so we're very, very excited about that. Very grateful.
Cold. It's cold here.
And it's cold here, right?
It was in the 70s in California. Come on now.
All right, so somebody buy that man a beer.
Yeah, please.
But
frozen stuff on the ground here.
We're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap this up because we want to get out and sort of mingle and network and really get, sort of connected again. I do want to thank the mic holders, the guys, the people that were walking around with the mics, Joshua and Rebecca. Can you stand up real quick? The boy is my son. That's my son. And there's a third one over there who's like my daughter. That's Jomana. Goes to Sarah Lawrence. Anybody heard of that college? It's only the most expensive college in the country. But anyway, she's a real brain. So we're very grateful that everyone's out here, that we're all sort of having a good time. And so thankful to Brandon Kessler, who started ChallengePost, is managing ChallengePost, but more importantly, he's a big believer in what we're doing. And, sort of the things that he's been counseling us on has been already creating, sort of fruit, as Andrew Roger just threw out a challenge. So it's those type of relationships and the type of collaboration that Bruce and I have really been trying to foster over the last couple of years that are important. Now, something has bothered me that every person that asked a question, nobody said, "Happy anniversary, Silicon Harlem." They just got so deep into the question. But it is our anniversary. We're very proud that we've been able to be a part of this movement for the last 2 years and make a difference. So Scott, having again come out here from California, being interested in what's going on in places like Harlem, he travels a lot, but it's really, I think, special that he had decided to take time out to come to Harlem, to spend as much time as he could to share what he knows, not bullshit about stuff he doesn't know. And I think that's really, really been something that we appreciate, Scott. So thank you again. So let's give them both a hand. There's a bunch of people in this audience that, you know, I've tried to acknowledge, but there's a lot of people here that I haven't acknowledged that I wish I could do every single person. I know my friend Chad Hunt is here, who has a great business. If you haven't met Chad, make sure you meet him. Chad has been coming to our events since the beginning as well. We did an event in 2014 as part of Mobile Week where we had Funk Flex here, and it was a lot of fun that night. We really got into what Funk Flex was all about. And Chad Hunt ended up creating a great relationship with Funk Flex, and they're in negotiations for new products and all that kind of stuff through his company. So those are the type of stories we like to hear in Silicon Harlem. I think I was talking with, who was it, about, well, tonight we were just talking to someone who actually created, through Silicon Harlem, has bolstered their business by having, you know, met people that can help them with their business. So it's that type of thing that we want to see continue to happen. Bruce and I talked a lot about, you know, should we go over everything we've done over the last couple of years? Some things have been very public, and some things we don't talk as much about. But there's been a lot that's happened in the 2 years, and most of it has been just really trying to drive this vision, really trying to get all the stakeholders involved, everyone, you know, be a part of this movement. Because we know one thing that's for sure. When you embrace technology in this day and age, you can transform your community, specifically from an economic development perspective, where, you know, it's really simple. If people have jobs and something they care about, they don't commit crimes. It's really simple. So we have an issue in areas like Ferguson and Gary, Indiana, and places where high unemployment for young adults creates chaos in some ways. So we need to bring this same sort of energy into those areas like we're doing here in Harlem. And that's what's important, is we need to make sure that it's not a question of if, it's a question of when it comes to, you know, sort of embracing technology. As Brandon said, it touches every business. So that's what we're about. That's what we're really trying to really focus on. And then there's programs that we implement and lots of things that we do, the conferences, et cetera. But at the end of the day, we want to see a community like Harlem thrive through co-working spaces, through incubators, through accelerators like Co-Found is trying to do. So there's all types of things that we're trying to do. And we want to promote your business. We want to help you in your careers. I mean, help each other, right? So that's what this is about. Bruce, you want to end on a couple of words, and then we'll get back out to having some beers?
Yeah, I just think it's important to underscore what Clayton said in terms of this is a collective effort. So we all have to come together. And it's this sort of odd bedfellows kind of thing where you never thought you might find a way to work with someone, but those are the very people that you need to talk to and find out ways that you can work together, because you're going to find more harmonies than disharmonies. And one of the things that we've been actively doing is making sure that Silicon Harlem doesn't just happen in Harlem. It happens in Silicon Alley. It happens in Digital Dumbo. It's happening in Washington, D.C. So that people start to see how this vision can then translate into ways that you can start to develop your community. Because most people want their communities to be well-functioning. Most people have a sense of social justice. So it's that kind of a value that has allowed us to grow. And then we're lucky that, you know, we also have this type of a space, you know, but that's tied into people working together for a long time, bringing together a lot of very sophisticated visions. So it's not simply, you know, what we're doing on the affective side, it's having smart and green buildings that put us right at the forefront of this idea of smart cities. And a smart city has to be an inclusive city. And so we have to start to figure out how to work together and how to talk to one another tonight, see what one another's doing, and then keep those conversations going. So that's part of what we want to facilitate. So I think that's a good way for us to now segue. Let's go take advantage of this fantastic venue. Let's drink some beer, let's eat some food, and let's have a great time and celebrate the 2nd anniversary of Silicon Harlem, because we're going to be here for some time to come.
Now I gotta say, 2 quick things. We're supporting K. Shaw and the National Black Programming Consortium, who's having a special screening for our members and for the community on their documentary called 180 Days Hartsville. Keisha, are you here? Okay, well, anyway, if you're on our list as a member, you will get the special invitation. We've already sent one out. And for those of you who can hang around, we are having a sneak peek at a newly released or a newly created web series called Style by Cree. And is Bankole here? Where's Bon? Okay, Bon, you want to just quickly introduce it so we can transition here? So cue the video, if you will, upstairs so we can make it happen very quickly.
Okay. So I'm here in place of Cree English. She was supposed to be here tonight, but she has the flu, right? And this is a project that we're working on along with Issa Rae. Are you familiar with Issa Rae? Right. And this is going on her outlet. We shot 4 episodes. We're shooting 6 more. And we just put up an Indiegogo to raise the rest of the funds to complete the season. So what you're going to see right now is pretty much a promo and the Indiegogo information. And afterwards, if we have like 2 seconds, if you have any questions, I'll answer them.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're in LA, but no one can enjoy it because they're too busy working their ass off for $5 of gas. I know you're accustomed to living this high life in New York, but this isn't Manhattan, okay, boo?
Hollywood go. Go.
Forget about my dreams. Forget about me being a stylist. I just came here for you and your crazy butt. Ah, y está muy bueno, ¿verdad? Is that your uncle? I told you, it's my father's uncle.
Yeah, baby. You know you'd want to go on a trip like this.
New York and LA are completely 2 different beasts. She's gonna find out once she's here. It gets gripping.
If only we could get our dating lives together. This heat is making everyone confused.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Including the men.
The makeup.
Oh, you had some guy come out your place and you had me waiting in the damn cafe for 3 hours.
So you're gonna come in or not?
You were so close to what I look for in a woman.
Right, but I'm just close?
Yeah, really close. Yeah.
Awkward. Welcome to LA, baby.
Today we have Kiss the DJ, celebrity hairstylist and makeup artist. Fabulous Baba John. This is the part where I style simply. Yes, I think you're ready for Cree Style Tips.
That's what I paid the gym membership for.
I'm Cree English. Sign it off.
No, I'm not saying it at all. I'm not saying it. No.
it's me, Cree. Look at you. You look so nice. Nice? Not You look great. Let me help you with my brother.
What's that? You have a baby, you bad. Yeah. Heard you got a boyfriend. That's cool, girl. Where is he at?
Girl Cree thinks that she's like the Carrie Bradshaw of the West and we're her gladiators, but she has another thing coming.
Man, the shit I've been through. But we make it, and we love it, and we live it.
But you know what? They can't even enjoy it because they're stuck inside all day working their ass off for this $5 gas.
Nope. That's right. So good. So good.
I'm living the life of luxury. I'm living on the street. Not only am I a fashion stylist, I'm also a blogger. And I've developed a bit of a following in New York, I have to say. So now, it's time to take over LA.
I know you used to live in this high life in New York. This is not Manhattan, okay?
I am going to be sharing my style tips and fashion do's and don'ts with everyone, including LA's top celebs through my new show, Style by Queen. My team has shot 4 fashionably amazing episodes of me, my brand, and my girls in LA. And we have 6 more to go.
That's what I paid the gym membership for. Did you get this?
So, we've decided to go to Indiegogo to make our message go viral and have everyone give into our campaign. Even style mogul Russell Simmons himself. Well, if Uncle Russ cares, I am definitely doing some real good over. Namaste.
The day I started this,
Here in LA, me and my girls go hard.
Need some drinks, some shots, get something. Here are the steps. Give to the campaign, share so others can give, and when the campaign is fully funded, watch the show and tell everyone how great it was so more people can watch. And then I'll be the talk of New York, London, Paris, Rome, Tokyo, Dubai, Buenos Aires, LA, the world. A girl's got a dream. See you on TV.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that all these things, like I was at